Hello students. So in today's class in coordination compound we are going to see the bonding in coordination compounds. So in before classes we have learned the nomenclature of coordination compounds, and next one is bonding in coordination compounds. So here in bonding in coordination compounds mainly we talk about is valency bond theory. What? Valency bond theory, which is shortly called as VBT. Okay, so how the coordination compounds are have bond, so how the metal has been combined with the ligand, that we are going to see in this topic, that is valency bond theory. So if we see the postulates of this valency bond theory, so the first postulate is the metal should make enough number of orbitals to accept the electrons which are donated by the ligand. Okay, what? The metal should have enough orbitals. The metal should provide enough orbitals for what? To accept electrons which are donated by a ligand, isn't it? So when ligand is donating electrons, the metal should have enough orbitals. And next, ligand donates electrons to the, and what is the function of ligand then? Ligand should donate, it should donate electrons to the metal orbital. It should donate electrons to the metal orbital. And third point is the ligand orbital and the metal orbital. Okay, ligand orbital and metal orbital, okay, intermix together. So after when they intermix, they will form a new hybrid orbitals. So when these two intermix, what they form? They form hybrid orbitals. So what is the first point, children? Metal should have enough orbitals. Okay, it should have enough orbitals to accept the electrons from the ligand. And next point, ligand should provide electrons to the metal orbitals. And third point, metal orbitals and ligand orbitals intermix together. By intermixing together, what they will form? They form a new hybrid orbitals. Okay, these are the three postulates of valency bond theory. If we see their application, okay, if we see their application, the ligand, we will study valency bond theory for what? To understand the geometry, magnetic character and hybridization of the coordination compounds. So why we will use VBT, valency bond theory? To study or to understand geometry, okay, magnetic property or magnetic character and hybridization. So what is its application of a VBT, valency bond theory? Valency bond theory is used to understand, or we will study the VBT to understand the geometry, magnetic character and hybridization. So how? First one we will see the magnetic character. So the metal of the coordination compounds exhibits three type of magnetic properties, isn't it? So the coordination compounds mainly from d orbital. So the the d block element, the d block elements will be having unpaired electrons, isn't it? So here the metal of a coordination compound exhibits three type of magnetic properties. First one is diamagnetic, paramagnetic and ferromagnetic. Understand, children? So if we see the magnetic properties, or the metal of the coordination compound exhibits diamagnetic, paramagnetic, ferromagnetic. So in this class, for this chapter, only diamagnetic and paramagnetic we are going to learn, and we are not bothering about ferromagnetic because you will be studying in this in physics and all. Okay, children, only thing we have to concentrate only on diamagnetic and paramagnetic. So tell me, what do you mean by diamagnetic? If the central atom have no unpaired electrons, no unpaired electrons or fully filled electrons. So the diamagnetic is the property of the central metal atom where there are no unpaired electrons are present or fully paired electrons are present. When there are no unpaired electrons or fully paired electrons are there, what happens to the magnetic character? It will be repelled. Okay, it will be repelled by the magnetic field. Understand? Diamagnetic in a coordination compound, the central metal atom will have no unpaired electron. They won't be having any unpaired electrons, or they will be having fully filled electrons. Then what happened? They are repelled by the magnetic field. So here in paramagnetic, the central atom contains unpaired electrons. It will be having unpaired electrons. When they are having unpaired electrons, what happens? They were strongly attracted by the magnetic field. Understand, children? Yes, so this is about magnetic character of the coordination compound. Magnetic character of the coordination compound, it is of three types: diamagnetic, paramagnetic, ferromagnetic. Ferromagnetic we are not going to study. Only thing we are concentrate on diamagnetic and paramagnetic. What do you mean by diamagnetic? If the central atom contains no unpaired electrons or it contains fully paired electrons, then there is no attraction can be seen by the magnetic field. That is why it is strongly repelled by the magnetic field. Paramagnetic means the central atom contains unpaired electrons. When it contains unpaired electron, it will be strongly attracted by the magnetic field. And next one is we are going to see the relation between coordination number and hybridization. Understand? In before we have seen coordination number and geometry. Yes, so now we are going to see coordination number, geometry and hybridization. If the coordination number is 4, the geometry will be tetrahedral and hybridization will be sp3 hybridization. Okay, again if the coordination number is 4, another chance will be there for the another geometry, that is square planar. If it is square planar, then the hybridization will be dsp2. If the coordination number is 5, then it is trigonal bipyramidal and the hybridization will be dsp3. If the coordination number is 6, it will be octahedral and the hybridization may be sp3d2 or d2sp3. So why we got these two, I am going to explain you later. And before going to this, knowing their geometry or coordination and hybridization, we want to know the outermost electronic configuration for scandium to zinc. So you have to learn scandium to zinc only outermost electronic configuration. Understand, children? So according to their atomic number, we have to know only their outermost electronic configuration. So I have already written here. See, scandium atomic number 21, titanium 22, vanadium 23, chromium 24, manganese 25, iron 26, cobalt 27, nickel 28, copper 29, zinc 30. And we are going to see only their outermost electronic configuration as 3d1 4s2, 3d2 4s2, C. Like that 3d10 4s2. So 21 to 30. If you know the outermost electronic configuration, it will be easier to find their hybridization. Understand, children? So this is very important. That means you have to learn. If you know this, it will be easier for you. You can do it very fast. So look at here. Definitely from this area you are going to get questions. The question may be find hybridization, magnetic character and geometry of so and so coordination complex. Okay, so how you are going to find all these three by one with example I am going to explain you. First one, CO NH3 6 times 3 plus. So here the ligands may be strong or weak, that we are going to learn in the next, that is a crystal field theory. But here only thing I am going to tell you first, it is a strong ligand or a weak ligand. Understand, NH3 is a strong ligand. So at column you write down NH3 is a strong ligand. So how it is strong, how it is weak, I am going to explain you next theory. So here first one we have taken, first example CO NH3 6 times 3 plus. In this the central metal atom, okay, the central metal atom ground state electronic configuration for central metal atom you have to know. So ground state, okay, electronic configuration for cobalt. So what is the electronic configuration, outermost electronic configuration? It is 3d7 4s2, isn't it? That means in 3 orbital total 7 electrons are there, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and s orbital 2 are there. Now find the oxidation number for cobalt. Okay, we already learned how to find the oxidation number. So it is a neutral atom, that means 0. Here it is already there, plus 3. When it is 0, x plus 0 equal to 3, isn't it? That means x equal to 3. We are going to get x equal to 3. So directly I am writing oxidation state of cobalt is plus 3 oxidation state. So for this you write down the electronic configuration now. So CO 3 plus electronic configuration is from from s orbital 2 electrons, from d orbital 1 electron. So 3 electrons will be minus. So now it will be changed to 3d6 4s0. So again show it in an orbital 1 2 3 4 5 6. Understand, children? So if any complex is given, first you have to write the ground state electronic configuration of the central metal. Next oxidation state. Basing on this oxidation state you have to write there again the electronic configuration for central metal only. Next step is, so look at here. Now the electronic configuration for coordination complex or coordination compound CONH3 6 times 3 plus, isn't it? So here what is the first postulate, children? What did we learn? The metal should provide vacant vacant orbital so that the unpaired electrons, okay, so that the unpaired electrons will be paired to provide vacant orbitals. That means if the metal is having vacant orbitals, so whatever unpaired electrons are there, they will be paired up, isn't it? So look at here. Here for this 3D, okay, in 3D how many electrons are there total? And before it is 3d6, isn't it? So 1 2 3. So look at here. So like this the electrons are present. So what happens? This will be paired up first. So this electron will be paired with this electron will paired with this. Why they are paired? Why? Because to provide vacant orbitals for the ligand to allow their electrons to place in these orbitals. Understand, children? So listen carefully. To provide vacant orbitals, the metal, what the metal will do? The unpaired electrons will be paired. Okay, whatever unpaired electrons are there, they will be paired up. So when they are paired up, we are going to get a vacant orbitals, isn't it? So basing on that, here for 6 electrons will be paired like this. Now d orbital is vacant and 4s. Okay, 4s orbital will be vacant. Here 1 2 3, but here NH6, isn't it? Another 3 orbitals we require, so we are moving to 4p. Yes, so like this. So look at here, children. Now the ligand is donating a pair of electrons for each of the orbitals. So here 1 2 3 4 5 6 metal electrons you indicate like this, okay, and ligand electrons, if you indicate like this, it will be easier for you, will not get confusion. So who is donating these electrons? Ammonia is donating these electrons, isn't it? So better to write like this. So look at here, children. So the orbital is taking according to the energy level. According to the energy level. As ligand is the strongest ligand, it can, what it will do, it will make the electrons to paired up within their orbitals. Now it can find the vacant orbitals to provide their electrons, okay, to provide their pair of electrons to each of the orbitals. So here ligand. So what will be the hybridization, children? D2 sp3. So this is the hybridization. So finally you got what is the hybridization. So now comes to magnetic character. So magnetic character, here we are having any unpaired electrons? No unpaired electrons, isn't it? So magnetic, what about magnetic character? It is a diamagnetic or paramagnetic? It is a diamagnetic in nature, isn't it? And what will be the geometry, children? It is 6, isn't it? So it will be octahedral. Octahedral. And what about hybridization? The hybridization will be D2 sp3. I hope you all understand. Yes. So for everything, if they give any complex, first you write the ground state of the central metal, then oxidation state. Basing on their oxidation state, again you write the electronic configuration. Next comes to the electronic configuration for complex. Understand, if it is a strong ligand, what it will do? It will make the electrons to paired up within their orbitals. If not, what I'll deal with the next example, I will explain you. So basing on this, better to write the ligand electrons like this with another color, then you won't get confusion. So basing on this, we are going to get hybridization, type of hybridization we got, geometry we got, and magnetic character also. And next example is COF6. COF6 3-. So here fluorine is a weak ligand. Fluorine is a weak ligand. So here what happens? The ground state, oxidation state of cobalt, and after oxidation how the electronic configuration is. First one, ground state we are going to see. Ground state, it is 3d7 4s2. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and here it is 2. And oxidation state, okay, oxidation state of cobalt. So oxidation state of cobalt in this complex is, it is fluoride, no? Fluoride, it is -1. So -1 into 6, -6, and equal to -3. So x minus 6 equal to -3, isn't it? So if it will move this side, you are going to get +3. So oxidation state will be +3, isn't it? So cobalt +3, we are having electronic configuration as 3d6 4s0. 5. Now 1 2 3 4 5 6, isn't it? So now for complex, COF6 3-, the electronic configuration 1 2 3 4 5. This is 3d6 4s0. So now the 6 electrons. 6 electrons, what are there? 1 2 3 4 5 6, isn't it? And how many fluoride ions are there? 6. But we are having only one s orbital. So we have to move for another 5. That means 4p 4d. 4p 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, 4d. So now fluoride ion is not having enough energy to pair up the electrons in the d orbital. So fluorine is a weak ligand, so it cannot make these electrons to pair up in the d orbitals. So that is why it moved to the next orbitals. So next orbital, so here 1 2 3 4 5 6, isn't it? So look at here children, F, 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 F. So here what will be the hybridization? S, P3, D2. I hope it is clear. Understand? So here you may have doubt, this can be paired up, but fluorine is a weak ligand, so it not having enough energy to pair up the electrons which are present in the d orbital. So it cannot make this electrons to paired up. Understand children? So that is why it moves to the another orbital. So what hybridization you got here? Hybridization is sp3 hybridization is sp3d2. And magnetic character, tell about magnetic character. As it is having unpaired electrons, so it will be paramagnetic in nature. And next, what about the geometry? Geometry will be octahedral. Okay, the coordination number is 6, that is why it is octahedral. So look at here children, third example, that is MnCl6. So here chlorine is also a weak ligand. So first we have to see the ground state electronic configuration of manganese, that is 3d5 4s2. The electrons are arranged in this form. And oxidation state of a manganese, that is X plus, okay, X plus into -6 equal to -3. So 6 will go this side, no? So -3 plus 3 equal to +3. So oxidation state of manganese is +3. So already you have learned how to find the oxidation number. So go through it. And manganese after in oxidation state, the electronic configuration is 3d4 4s0. So the electrons are arranged like this. So now comes to the electronic configuration for complex MnCl6. So the electrons are arranged. So as chlorine is in weak ligand, it is not having enough energy to pair up the electrons which are present in the d orbital. So what it will do? It will move to the next orbital. So it will move to the next orbital. So leave this orbit. Okay, leave this orbit. Either we should be having sp3d2 or d2sp3. So but if you take here one d orbital, here one orbital, means it is not possible. That is why we are leaving this orbit. Okay, we are leaving this orbital and we are moving to the another orbital. So spt. So 6 chlorine atoms, it donates 6 paired electrons, isn't it? So understand why I have left the place here, because either the geometry may be sp3d2 or d2sp3, but here in a 3d orbital 1, in 4d orbital 1 means it is not possible. So that is why we are leaving this space and we are moving to the next orbitals. So see, 6 chlorine atoms donating electrons, 6 electron pairs. So 1s 3p 2 d orbital. So that is why it is sp3d2. The hybridization is sp3d2. What about magnetic character? It is having 4 unpaired electrons. So that is why it is paramagnetic in nature. And what about geometry? Geometry is, it is having coordination number 6. So it is octahedral. Next comes to another example, that is manganese Cn 6 times 3 plus. So here Cn is a strong ligand. When it is a strong ligand, what it can do? It have enough energy to pair up the electrons in a d orbital, isn't it? Yes? Yeah. First we are going to see the ground state of a manganese, that is 3d5 4s2. Oxidation state of manganese is +3. Electronic configuration of a manganese +3 is this. If we see the complex, so here the ligand is the strongest ligand. So that is why these electrons can paired up with another electron which are present in this orbital, within the orbital only. So these 4 electrons will get paired up. Now we are going to get 2 d orbitals vacant and s and p. So total 6 Cns are there, but we are having only 2 orbitals here. So another more 4 we require. So that is why we are moving 4s and 4p. So if we donate the electrons to these orbitals, we are going to get d2sp3. Okay, d2sp3 hybridization. Understand children? So what about magnetic character? As it is having unpaired electrons or paired electrons? Paired electrons. So that is why it is diamagnetic in nature. And what about geometry? Geometry is octahedral. So here one point, all the 4 electrons are not paired for manganese if strong ligand is present. Only 2 electrons were paired up. Okay, all the 4 will not paid up, only 2 electrons will paid up for manganese if the strong ligand is present. See their hybridization. Hybridization is D2sp3, magnetic property is paramagnetic, geometry is octahedral. So next one, by using VBT, one more property we can study. What is that property? That is the complex, about the complex, that is the compound can be divided into 2 types, inner orbital complex, outer orbital complexes. So what do you mean by inner orbital complex and outer orbital complex? In an octahedral compound, if the compound uses inner d orbital, the compound is called inner orbital complex. Inner orbital complex. If the electrons are filled in outer d orbital, then it is outer orbital complex. I hope you understand. So here it is using inner d orbital. So this complex in octahedral compound, if the electrons are filled in inner d orbital, then it is inner orbital complex. In an octahedral compound, if the electrons are filled in outer orbit, if the electrons are filled in outer d orbit, okay, here the outer d orbit we are filling, so then it is outer orbital complex. Understand, children? So basing on this, the hybridization we can predict. So where the electrons are filled, basing on that the hybridization we can predict. So here one trick, simply remember, in octahedral, if the ligand is strong, it is D2sp3. Remember this. If the ligand is weak, the hybridization is sp3d2. If it is strong, D2sp3. If it is weak, sp3d2. So this is a homework for you. Find a magnetic character and a geometry for this compound, that is FeCN64 and FeF6 3-. So, and last topic, that is valency bond theory, also having some limitations. So what are that limitations? It is based on number of assumptions, isn't it? Some of the things it cannot explain, like it does not give an idea about the nature of the ligand, that is either strong or weak. I have said it is a strong or weak, but we don't know why it is strong and why it is weak. So that is one drawback. And valency bond theory does not explain the reason for color. All d block elements or d block elements which form a complex compound, they all are colored. So why they are colored, it did not explain. And valency bond theory not explain the stability of a compound. So why they are stable, that also it unable to explain. I hope you understand this clearly. This is very, very important. Definitely from this area you are going to get question. So that's all for today's class. Thank you, children.